What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Malnoxx, and today we have another Genshin Impact video for you. Natlan is right around the corner, and in the first half of Natlan, we're getting Kachina, the new Geo polearm character, for free. She's also on the banner if you want to pull constellations, but this is a character everyone is going to be able to grab. So we're going to dive in and take a look at her skills and see what you have in store with Kachina. So as it says here, Kachina is both an on-field or an off-field damage dealer. You see her little turbo twirly, I think is what they call it. That can exist on the field independent of her and deal damage, or she can be there with it or even riding it during battle. So the basic gist is her elemental skill allows her to ride on turbo twirly. It'll fight alongside of her, and you can slam the ground with your normal attacks while you're riding turbo twirly, or if it's operating independently of Kachina, it will just continually slam the ground. Her burst makes that area a little bit wider that it slams, and it also increases the movement speed when you're within that burst range when she's riding it. Just like Milani, there's not anything that we can really pre-farm aside from the gemstones and then Arlecchino materials for her talents. But here we can see her auto attack animations and her charge attack animations. Honestly, looks pretty standard for most polearm characters, especially that charge attack spin. I do like the little spin move that she does in her attack string there, where she stabs her polearm into the ground and does that little spinning kick. That's pretty cool. So when you use her elemental skill, she's going to get 60 Night Soul points and enter the Night Soul blessing state. She hops on top of Turbo Twirly and she moves faster and climbs faster, kind of similar to what Kirara already does. But again, when she's riding on Turbo Twirly in her skill, you can use that auto attack to slam into the ground and deal AoE Geo damage. And now, as it says here, this is Night Soul aligned AoE Geo damage. I'm still not 100% sure what Night Soul aligned damage means, because Milani deals Night Soul aligned Hydro damage. So maybe that's something that I just missed somewhere, or maybe we have to wait until Natlan releases to find out more about how that mechanic exactly is going to work. And here we see her burst animation. Again, the burst is going to create a field, and you can kind of see the glowing line in the back here. Within that field, you're going to move faster if you're up on top of Turbo Twirly. And if it's slamming the ground, the AoE it creates is going to be larger. One cool thing is that she actually consumes 90% less stamina when you're climbing with her in Natlan. And it's going to use Night Soul points. And when the Night Soul points are out, it'll start to use Phlogiston instead. Again, we can see that Night Soul gauge right here on the side depleting. And then the Phlogiston gauge starts depleting there. Her passive talent's really cool because while you're climbing with someone, if you swap to her, she'll automatically hop on Turbo Twirly and start climbing on it, and you're going to be climbing a lot faster and again the reduced stamina. This also works while you're sprinting, and I think it also says when you're at a certain height or when you change characters due to certain talents. It seems like a lot of the Natlan characters have a similar thing where they enter their special movement state when you're sprinting, when you're climbing, when you're at a certain point in the air. Milani has the same thing on her shark. And then it also says here she gains 30 Night Soul points and enters into the Night Soul blessing state when you switch to her in this way. And Turbo Twirly can exist independently of Kachina, and her skill will switch to a mount or dismount option. So when you hold down her skill to summon Turbo Twirly, then you have the option to mount or dismount it, and you're either riding on it, slamming into the ground, or it's just around next to you, slamming into the ground, dealing AoE Geo damage. And another thing to keep in mind is that the damage from her skill as well as the damage from her burst is based on her defense. So the web event polearm that we're getting, it is a defense polearm, so I think it's going to be a great free-to-play option for Kachina. Her talents are pretty interesting. After a party member triggers a Night Soul burst, she gets an increased Geo damage bonus of 20% for 12 seconds. And then also Turbo Twirly's damage is going to be increased by a further 20% of her defense. So stacking defense, finally we get a use for those defense rolling artifacts. And finally, certain harvestable items on the map will restore 20 stamina when you pick them up with Kachina. It seems like she's keeping in the vein of the other Natlan character that we've seen so far with Milani, in that they're making exploration of the new area a lot more fluid and a lot easier, which I think is just an absolute W, because fluid movement is going to lead to a lot more enjoyment of getting through this new region. We've got a lot more coming with the new region, so if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, like the video if you liked it, and we'll see you in the next one. Come and play Natlan with us over on Twitch. Link is down in the description below. We're going to have a good time. Thanks for sticking around to the end of this one, and until next time, you stay legendary. And remember, the sun will rise, and we will try again. Peace out.